and welcome to our news package brought to you at this hour. I am Arewa Agbolade Alif. Here are the lead stories. Federal government identifies more hurdles to resolve before agreement with ASUU. Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi defects to APC from PDP. On the foreign scenes, UK to ban petrol and diesel cars from 2030 under New Green Plan. And in sports, Sierra Leone holds Super Eagles to goalless draw in the second leg of AFCON qualifiers. Now to the full story. The federal government of Nigeria has approved the resumption of international flight operations in the country through Air France, Lufthansa, KLM, and Qatar Airways. The Aviation Ministry has also assured it is working with the Health Ministry's coalition against COVID-19 and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to ensure that the 3 other airports are opened. This was confirmed in a tweet yesterday by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika. Recall that the government had restricted 10 airlines from operating in the company when international flights resumed on September 5 until now. Minister of Police Affairs Mohammed Dinyari says the federal government has resolved to forestall a repeat of the violence and destruction of properties witnessed in the country in the wake of the recent NSAS protest. Dinyari would disclose this at the meeting of the National Security Council presided over by the President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday at the Presidential Villa, said the government will also dialogue with relevant stakeholders, including the youths, in the process of maintaining peace in the country. The acceptance of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, as provided by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, may not necessarily resolve the ongoing lecturer strike, as government has identified another sticking point towards the resolution of the issue. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, in a chat with the State House correspondent, hinted that even if government accepts the preferred payment mode by lecturers who have rejected being placed in integrated payroll and personal information system, ASUU has no money to procure the necessary hardware for the implementation. Neither did the federal government make any monetary provision for the procurement of the UTAS hardware. Ngige, however, said that the government has already forwarded the UTAS softwares to the Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency for integrated tests, which will last for 8 hours, saying that government will not want to discourage any Nigerian from providing homegrown solution to the issues. A Lagos magistrate court has granted bail to Eremosele Adene, who is one of the promoters of the NSAS campaign. The magistrate set the bail at 1 million naira for the 27-year-old who is yet to be formally charged. Adene's case has drawn much attention since he was arrested at home in Lagos on November 7 for playing an active role in the peaceful NSAS protests. He was accused by the Nigerian police of criminal incitement, cyber stalking, provoking of public peace, and conduct likely to cause breach of public peace. The Nigerian police has clarified to the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry that a petitioner, Nzube Obiechina, who lost her 2 months pregnancy in the police detention, is a sister to suspected kidnapper Evans. During the cross-examination, legal officer, Intelligence Response Team, Nosa Humwangu, picked faults in the testimony of Mrs. Obiechina, noting that there are 3 contradictions in the statement and her testimonies. The police legal officer said that Obiechina, who is a school teacher, was arrested in 2017 after her phone number and that of her husband were allegedly used by Evans to make contact with the family of a kidnapped victim to collect $1 million ransom. Obiechina, however, insisted the police were aware she was pregnant even as she was being tortured in detention. The school teacher and her husband had appeared on October 31st before the panel of inquiry and told how she was arrested by SARS, detained for 22 days and tortured before losing her pregnancy. Moving on to local news. Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi has defected from the PDP, to the All Progressive Congress APC. Some reasons given by the governor for his defection is that the Southeast region has suffered what he described as injustice in the PDP and the party's refusal to zone the 2023 presidency to the region. Following the defection of Governor Umahi, the national executive of the PDP has dissolved the ward, local government, and state executive of the party in the state. With Umahi's defection, the PDP now controls only 2 states, which are Abia and Enugu, out of 5 states in the zone. The APC has 2 states, Imo and Ebonyi, with APGA in control of Anambra State. The permanent secretary of Kogi's Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Usman Ibrahim, has been queried over a controversial task imposed on loaves of bread in the state. It will be recalled that the state government had, through a memo signed by the embattled permanent secretary, hired a consultant to levy bakers and caterers for every loaf of bread and confectionaries produced in the state. The levy, however, became subject of controversy in a twist at the weekend, where the state government has denounced the memo of the permanent secretary, saying it was not privy to the consultancy agreement. The state head of civil service, Deborah Ogumola, also stated that the investigations revealed Ibrahim acted without obtaining the approval of the commissioner in charge of the ministry. Moving on to foreign news. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said new cars and vans powered wholly by petrol and diesel will not be sold in the UK from 2030. It is part of what the Prime Minister calls a green industrial revolution to tackle climate change and create jobs in the industries such as nuclear. The government says it is part of a broader £12 billion package of public investment that it is expected to draw in much more private sector funding. The plan also includes provision for a large nuclear plant likely to be at the Sizewell in Suffolk and for advanced small nuclear reactors, which it is hoped will create an estimated 10,000 jobs at Rolls-Royce and other firms. The US President Donald Trump says he has fired cybersecurity and infrastructure security chief Chris Krebs, who contradicted his claims over voter fraud. Trump said he terminated Krebs' appointment for his highly inaccurate remarks on the vote integrity. Like many others fired by Trump, Mr. Krebs only learned he was out of a job when he saw the president's tweet yesterday on Twitter. Mr. Trump has refused to concede the U.S. election, making unsubstantiated claims of massive voter fraud, despite election officials insisting that the vote was the most secure in U.S. history. Moving on to the sports scenes. The Super Eagles and the Lone Stars of Sierra Leone on Tuesday played a goalless draw in the return fixture of the 2021 AFCON Cup of Nations qualifier that took place in Freetown. The result meant the Super Eagles have delayed picking their 2021 AFCON qualifier ticket. Super Eagles coach Gennett Rohr has attributed Tuesday's below-par performance of the team against the Lone Stars of Sierra Leone to the poor conditions of the pitch in Freetown. On the team's official Twitter account, Gennett Rohr praised the performance of his players, singling out Maduka Okoye for his impressive contribution and lamenting the long ball tactics used by the home team, which scuffled the effort of the Super Eagles in the much-needed 3 points. The Eagles' next game is a qualifier, which is away to Benin Republic and will be taking place on March 2021. That is next year. In tennis, Dominic Thiem becomes the first man to move into the last 4 of the season's ending ATP event in London. The Australian beats Rafael Nadal 7-6, 9-7, 7-6, 7-4 for his second victory of the round-robin event at the O2 Arena. Thiem's qualification was secured when Stefanos Tsitsipas beat Andrei Rublev. Tsitsipas will play Nadal on Thursday with the winner joining Thiem in the semi-finals, while Rublev is eliminated after defeat from 2 games. In the entertainment scenes, the Lagos State government says its 3 theaters located in Ekpe, Igondo and Badagry are now in full operations and under new management. The State Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mrs. Uzamat Akimbile Yusuf, who disclosed this during the 2020 Association of Nigerian Journalists and Writers of Tourism seminar yesterday in Lagos, said that individuals willing to use facilities will be obliged to do so, as the state was committed to boosting domestic tourism. The commissioner also revealed that the theater in Oregun, which was burnt during the recent EndSARS protest, was under renovation, as her ministry was making several efforts to reposition Lagos tourism and make it to tourists both indigenous and foreign. Dancehall singer Timaya this morning, November 17, shared photos of his 6-month-old daughter Maya on social media. Timaya already has 3 children, Ima, Gracie, and Emmanuela, from 2 previous relationships. The singer announced the great news on his latest edition on his Instagram page. In the business scenes, activities of the nation's bourse closed negatively yesterday for the 2nd consecutive day, with market indices dropping by 1.53% due to the continuous profit taking. Specifically, the market capitalization dipped by 279 billion naira to close at 17.892 trillion naira. The downward trend was further driven by losses in medium and large-scale capitalized stock, amongst which are Nestle, Dangote Cement, Nigerian breweries, Cadbury, and international breweries. Market sentiments are measured by market breadth, was negative as 30 stocks declined relative to 17 gainers. Transactions in the shares of the UACN Property Development Company topped the activity charts, with 8.2 billion shares valued at 5.96 billion naira. However, the total volume of trade increased by 1,299% as investors bought and sold 9.36 billion shares. That's our news package brought to you at this hour. My name is Arewa Agbolade Alif. Do have the rest of a beautiful day.